All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Still in the hotel room with super awesome quality. Just so much quality. So much quality. And I got a whole bunch of good news stuff for you as well. So, the first one is GPU prices fall following a slump in cryptocurrency markets. So, just in case you haven't been on Amazon in a little while, so the price of specialized graphics processing units, or GPUs, I'm not even sure why they put that in there, has been declining along with sinking prices in digital currency markets. Who would have thought? But while at the end of 2017 and beginning of 2018, cryptocurrency mining caused a sharp rise in the price of high-end gaming cards, the tendency seems to have reversed as crypto markets continue a downward slope. So for a while there, I seen 1080 Ti's as high as $1,300. They were all sold out on Newegg and Amazon, and now everybody's returning them and nobody's buying them. And still, Nvidia and AMD still no plans to release a new series of graphics cards, and now they blame it on everybody returning the cards and returning all of the chips back to the manufacturers of the chips and whatnot. So according to Computer World, in April, AMD's OEM 4GB RX 580 pack was sold out at the price of $3,600, while today it's available for a cool $2,500. And an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 Founders Edition was about $1,050, but now can be purchased for just as little as $709. Wow, what a cheap price. So before, those were actually even cheaper than that. That's kind of the price of a 1080 Ti released MSRP, depending on which one you buy, because manufacturers receive the chip and then they put their own stuff on it and they clock it their own way. So it depends on if you buy the Founders Edition, which is usually the cheapest one, or sometimes you can buy the more expensive ones. But honestly, either way, they're all pretty much the same thing. And I know you might be saying, oh no, they're not, but kinda. I mean, the clock speed of them is all relatively similar. Some of the really high-end ones are pretty fast, but in actuality, they only get a little bit more hash rate, and honestly, you're better off just buying the Founders Editions or just whatever the cheapest ones you can find, and you'll get a pretty similar hash rate. Maybe somebody that buys the really expensive one might get 20-30 cents more a day than you, but oh well, I suppose. So bad case of clearing my throat. I blame it on the hotel. It's definitely the hotel, the reason why I have to clear my throat. Absolutely. So if anybody is new to the channel, this is not normally the way I do things. I'm up in a hotel in Seattle, so I have to kind of make do by just holding my mic. I kind of feel like a game show host holding my mic, and I gotta start like kissing all the family members on Family Feud in a really awkward way. But who knows, you know. So the next article here is Binance CEO fires back at Ethereum's Vitalik Buterin remark that centralized exchanges should burn in hell. So I think it was maybe just a few episodes ago I made a video on Vitalik Buterin's remark on centralized exchanges and his thoughts on it. And now CZ, the founder of and CEO of Binance, said centralized exchanges are not that bad and decentralization is not a cure-all, which I also kind of agree with. Now, decentralization is good, but exactly that. It's just not a cure-all. Refuting a recent comment by Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin that those exchanges should burn in hell. Oh, man, that... let's do one more. Souse. Oh, man, Vitalik Buterin. Shots fired. The exchange, which carried out its initial coin offering about a year ago, quickly turned out not only into an active trading hub, but also in a hub for the crypto community. So they held the initial coin offering for them, and now he's saying that they should all burn in hell. So that's ironic, I suppose. So in the meantime, even the most popular decentralized exchanges are still quite far from the capacity of centralized marketplaces. Indeed, in the years since the launch of Bitcoin, it was precisely centralized exchanges which helped the price climb by gathering a community of traders and adding liquidity. So the bad reputation of exchanges springs from the earlier years of crypto trading when exchanges would disappear or cause losses, like Mt. Gox, I suppose. Exchanges like Bittrex and Poloniex also suffered DDoS attacks. And it's definitely Poloniex is one of the best exchanges to just trade like all the random goofy alts that you never see on any of the major exchanges. Binance is pretty good at that, and Binance is overall a really good exchange. I think it's my second favorite exchange. It's kind of a toss-up between GDAX and Binance, and I know everybody's been correcting me lately that it's now Coinbase Pro. So I suppose I should start calling it that. I really honestly don't like that term. Coinbase Pro, it just kind of sounds, I suppose it works, but I like GDAX better. GDAX sounds just so cool and mysterious. But Binance is also really, really good. Cryptopia is also a really good exchange for super random goofy alts. I like to call them like super alts, extreme alts. Cryptopia just hosts whatever, and honestly Cryptopia is overall a kind of a bad exchange, but still a good place to trade that altcoin that you received that no other exchange typically has. So not too much sauce in this one. CZ keeping it real, keeping it calm, and just saying, hey, exchanges aren't that bad. And so I kind of like that. Good job, CZ. He says, got asked a few times to reply to Vitalik's remark. He says, let's not wish others to burn in hell. I suppose that's a good thing. Let's have a bigger heart and appreciate the fact that we're all part of an ecosystem. Yeah, so why not? I think Vitalik Buterin went a little too far with that comment. You know, I don't really feel that they should burn in hell for being an exchange, because that's where everybody trades crypto, and that's why the prices of crypto rises and falls, and that's where you can day trade, and that's where you can pick up the crypto of your choice on a centralized exchange. Decentralized ones are often pretty bad and very, very slow. So next article here, Bitcoin's 1 megabyte block size limit is starting to fade away, research shows. So Bitcoin has been growing in popularity since it's been created a decade ago, and the blocks produced by the Bitcoin network, approximately every 10 minutes, are now exceeding that 1 megabyte limit that was in place before segregated witness, or SegWit, was introduced in August of last year. So after the upgrade to SegWit, although in a much slower fashion than many had hoped, the old 1 megabyte block size limit is starting to slowly fade away. So the issue of the raising of 1 megabyte block limit came to the forefront as Bitcoin transaction fees were hitting record highs at the end of last year. That's when you were paying $20 or $30 when you tried to transfer a few $100s in Bitcoin. Not good. So SegWit, however, was implemented via a soft fork, and thus it was an optional upgrade. So that's why it took months for exchanges and businesses and users to see the network-wide benefits, such as slower fees and bigger blocks. And so Coinbase was one of those very slow to actually implement SegWit, this Coinbase and GDAX, well, Coinbase Pro now. Oh, I gotta get used to that. And it took them forever to implement SegWit. They just took their good old time with that. So the data show there is to show that big blockers don't speak the truth. Bitcoin Cash. Wrote one user in reaction to the news, Bitcoin is scaling, and it's doing so in the safest way possible. So I actually received a comment from Roger Ver the other day, because I had posted an article that he had, I think he had personally written it up, or either that or he posted his own video in that, the one where he was talking about his stay in prison for selling fireworks, which I still think is just the most ridiculous thing ever. It's not like he was selling dynamite. They're just fireworks on eBay. So that's all a little bit ridiculous, but he commented and he said, thank you for sharing this, and where is your Bitcoin Cash address? And I was like, well, you know, I mean, I can't have all of my addresses basically all, you know, on my channel, because that could be, I mean, who knows? Like, when do you even stop posting your donation addresses? I could post it for everything, including Patcoin, if I wanted to. But the idea is that if somebody wants to donate a random altcoin or something like that to me, they just have to ask me for the address. So I was just like, well, in the case of Bitcoin Cash, I mean, here's my address. this, just in case like somebody wants to donate Bitcoin Cash to me, like, because I mean, it's money. I guess I'll receive it if that's what you want to do. But no, I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin Cash. No, I did not receive a donation from Roger Ver. You can actually check that blockchain address, and you'll find that it has been empty and always probably will be empty, because I'm just not a big fan of Bitcoin Cash. Does it work? Yeah, sure, but just not a big fan of it personally. So indeed, people are still using Bitcoin, as the latest data shows that the average block size is now 1.06 megabyte, according to the data from the blockchain info. Meanwhile, the concept of block size has been replaced by block weight, and Bitcoin now supporting a weight of up to 4 megabytes. And also Lightning Network is slowly being introduced, which is also making things faster and cheaper to send Bitcoin. So, you know, if you've ever wondered, you know, are those fees, those ridiculous fees of Bitcoin still here? And the answer is yes and no. If you use, you know, a network of some kind, like GDAX, that has Coinbase Pro, oh god, that has introduced SegWit. Now it is much lower than it used to be. But if you use something that does not use SegWit, it's going to be just as high as it was, but not anymore, in the sense that not as many people are using Bitcoin, so the blocks aren't as full. So the fees won't be as outrageous as they once were. So yes and no. Question mark. I know I pointed the mic away and you probably couldn't hear that at the time, but I'm still getting used to the game show host method. But as I said in my previous videos, Friday I get back to my place, where I'll have my normal rig, where I can, with a normal quality, I guess, the absolute 100% crystal clear quality. But for now, this is what we got going on. So my final article of the day is that Iran, or Iran, however you want to call it, could become the first country forced to use Bitcoin. So the money in your bank account is not yours. So on Tuesday, U.S. Ambassador Richard Grenell revealed that the U.S. government is extremely concerned about Iran's plan to withdraw 300 million euros in cash held in German banks, Reuters reported. So we encourage the highest levels of the German government to intervene and stop the plan. So basically, they want to stop Iran from withdrawing their own money from banks, which is just horrible. Like it doesn't even matter like what country you're talking about or what person really, that you can't get your money out of the bank, and that they're trying to convince these banks to stop that, which, you know, I get the whole idea that the media is trying to you know, portray Iran as sponsoring terrorism, and, you know, just throwing that aside, it's just wrong to me that a bank would just be like, no, you can't take your money. So like, what was the point of ever having the money, and what was, you see what I mean there? Like, what is that all about? So Iran seems to be feeling the pinch of a new U.S. sanction imposed after Washington withdrew from the 2015 nuclear agreement. However, as the Trump presidency ramps the pressure on Tehran, Iran's population has been increasingly turning to Bitcoin as a safe haven due to its borderless and political nature. And I got my Dogecoin t-shirt on. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm just so proud of this Dogecoin t-shirt. I mean, the best $30 ever spent. In other words, the Bitcoin network does not care who you are or why you're making the transaction. It is revolutionary in that it's the first neutral form of money that can be freely transacted with anyone across the globe. What's more, it can be easily stored, unlike gold, and control of the private keys ensures that you have complete control of your money, unless somebody hacks you on an exchange. Whoops. It is for these reasons that cryptocurrency is becoming increasingly attractive. So, quote here, in the past, when corrupt governments devalued their local currency or seized assets from citizens, investors ran to the U.S. dollar or gold. Today, many are moving into cryptocurrencies where their money sits on a global distributed ledger that no central bank or government can touch. So the balance on your bank account, on the other hand, is for display purposes only. Not only are there strict limits on accessing your funds, the bank can freeze your account, and the money that you had is no longer yours, something that Iran will find out the hard way. So that's kind of true. I mean, really, the money in your bank account is just on display. It's like if you have, let's say you got $5,000 in your bank account, that's just a number. It's literally just a number until you actually pull that money out and have that money. You know, and for everyday people, that's not really a problem because you swipe your debit card, you swipe your credit card, and it just takes that balance away. Well, I guess not in the sense of your credit card, but you get what I'm saying. And it takes that balance away in a certain amount. But when you're a government like this and they're trying to hold your 300 million or your 30 million or whatever, that becomes a big problem. So, despite the aforementioned benefits, Iran's government has been not been too fond of Bitcoin. In April, Iran's banks were banned from dealing with domestic Bitcoin exchanges amid rumors that a national cryptocurrency may be in the works. National cryptocurrency is like the worst, most evil thing ever. I talk about it all the time, and how that a government could actually just, I mean, could see everybody's movement, could see everybody's spending, who received, who sent. They could take away money, they could add money, they could devalue, they could increase the supply, all kinds of things, and it would be really bad, let's just say the least. Just imagine if the U.S. government had all public keys with a name attached to them of Bitcoin, so that every time you spend Bitcoin, they know what you did, and they know who received it, and they know who received it after that, and so on and so on and so on. Pretty bad, and that's what a government cryptocurrency would be. Welcome to the future. Bam. So senior market analyst eToro Matty Greenspan, however, believes cryptocurrencies can thrive during government crackdowns and capital controls. He quotes, a crackdown in Iran would create a secondary market for crypto assets within the economy, which normally speaking would have a very high markup compared to other assets price, or compared to the assets price in other parts of the world. So there'll be places where they'll be able to trade peer-to-peer. They don't need an exchange. Obviously, it's a lot easier if you have a local exchange that accepts credit cards or bank transfers, but if that infrastructure is not there, they can still trade it peer-to-peer. The thing is, though, is Iran would not be able to buy any cryptocurrency if they keep that 300 million euros in cash held in German banks. I'm sure they have more money than just 300 million euros, but kind of hard to buy Bitcoin if you can't access your money to buy Bitcoin. That's a little difficult because you need money to buy the Bitcoin first. Well, I suppose you could mine it, but then you need money to buy all the parts to mine the Bitcoin in the first place. So that creates a problem. Use it or lose it. While Chinese invented gunpowder, I do like this little paragraph here. While Chinese invented gunpowder almost 1,000 years ago, they were actually forced to use it in warfare when the Europeans subjugated their continent, excuse me, with guns in the 19th century. As history shows, time after time, either you adopt the technology or someone else does and uses it against you. The same pattern repeats over and over, whether it's guns, tanks, planes, bombs, banking, computers, the internet, etc. So hopefully, you know, more, not necessarily countries adopt Bitcoin, but rather the people themselves adopt Bitcoin, because I don't like the idea of government cryptocurrencies or government-sponsored or government-created cryptocurrencies, but I do like the idea, of course, of people adopting cryptocurrency in their own way. But that's all I have for you guys today. A nice, quick, smooth episode, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.